Hi, my name is Carol Harmer, and what I'd like to talk to you today is there are a lot of retail traders out there who are getting really shafted, shall I say, polite way of putting it, by these companies that offer a service, offer to teach the courses, and they have no backup plan at all. And a lot of them, the majority of them, God help us, have never worked in a bank dealing room. They have not worked in a trading environment. They've worked purely in the retail market. Now, that's great. I don't have a problem with that. I have a problem with the amount of guys that I get to see who tell me that they've paid exorbitant amounts of money for stuff that really is, you don't need it. You really do not have to pay that sort of money out to get training into what is, I call it, my business, because to me it's very personal, really personal. And I hate the fact that these companies have launched themselves within the last 8 to 10 years purely to rip you off. And that sticks in my throat a lot. Now, this is my first that I've done like this. I've talked to traders, numerous traders. I've trained hundreds over my 38 years of trading. And, I'm not saying don't go with these people. What I'm saying, what I'm going to try and get through to you is, what are you looking for? Are you looking for a mentor? Are you looking for somebody who just gives you trade calls all day long on a 5-minute chart? Or are you looking to actually learn the way bank traders learned? I have to confess, my beginning of this was purely accidental. They were building a new exchange. It was called the London International Financial Futures Exchange, LIFI for short. And I have to say, the day that we went live on Life, which was September 1982, it was the most wonderful day work-wise I can ever remember. I mean, it was like, oh my God, I've arrived. And we had no training. We really didn't. We were all green. We didn't magically become traders overnight. We had to train for it. I worked for the exchange for nearly a year before making that leap to a trader. And as one of the first women traders on the floor trading, I'm not saying that there was brokers, there were order fillers, I'm not saying that, but the first woman to actually go into a pit on Life and trade in the 30-year bond, it was quite daunting when you're like 24. But people came up and we learned on the go. We made errors, but we learned how to do our craft. And in the mid-1980s, I decided to go back to, I worked for Midland Bank, by the way. I decided to go back to the office and help set up a technical training trading desk. One of the reasons why I was so successful, I think, as a trader, is because for the first 6 months of trading on the floor, I was inundated with figures, numbers, M1, M2, trade deficit, and it blew me away. And when my boss would go, that's a bearish number, go in and sell the bonds, I'd do that and it would go up. And I'm like, do you know what? I discovered charts purely by accident, going around the back of the exchange and seeing a little guy called Martin from Telerate. Being curious, I'm like, what are you doing? He said, I'm updating my charts. Oh, what's a chart? He said to me, what do you trade? I said, 30-year bond. Got up this chart, and for me, a light bulb exploded. It's like, that's why it's going up. You see, all bond traders had ever known was a 7-year downtrend. What they didn't see, it changed trends. Being a newbie, which I was, and very grateful that I've been given this opportunity to learn how to be a trader. When all the American guys said the bonds are going down, who was I to say, well, actually, I think they're going up. So what I did after that, I got my boss in a corner. I said, look, I've spent 3 hours with this guy last night. I want to learn about that. And he said, look, there's your 10 limit, your 10 contract limit. Go and do what you want. Now, when you talk about 10 contracts, every contract was $1 million, right? So let's just get this into perspective when we're talking about retail traders doing a fiver or £10 or £20. This was $1 million per contract. I had 10 of them. So, but obviously being young, naive, not really knowing what I was doing, I just went and did it. I had 10. So I worked out all my levels. I did a lot of research, which we didn't have the internet back then. There was a lot of things we didn't have back then, but we didn't have the internet back then. We didn't have technology, charting technology books. They were all in the US, and I actually found one by going into a shop that did arts and crafts and spoofy sort of voodoo-y books. And he ordered one for me off to the States. He ordered one from the States, and I read it from cover to cover to cover to cover. And I was very lucky. It went in, and I absorbed it. And I am 1,000% behind using charts to trade. I always have done, and I always will do. You know, and as I say, I've been doing it 38 years now. Anyway, moving on. My point is this. I have not been involved with the retail market for very long. I went back when I left the life floor. I went back to Midland Bank offices. We set up a trading desk. We set up a technical trading desk. We were very successful. I then went with a team from Midland Bank to actually start up Nomura Bank. Nomura didn't have its banking license. There was only 8 of us. So we were sitting there like twiddling thumbs and thinking of all the plans that we were going to do. But I did it. And, you know, now Nomura Bank is huge in the city and it's got 4,000 people. So I was one of the 8. So I got to know various currencies. And that was the thing about leaving the floor. I knew the 30-year bond. I knew the gilts. Didn't really trade FTSE. But I wanted to know who were these people behind the scenes who were putting the orders into the pit. I'd seen that end of it. I wanted to know what they were all doing in the outside world, because you were very coddled in on the life floor. You didn't really get to know what was going on outside it. So going back to the banks, I thought was a really good move for me. And going to 3 fantastic banks, which was Midland, where I learned the ins and outs of cable and dollar mark, Nomura, yen, Japanese yen, you know, but I still traded everything. But we did more yen, obviously, because we were the first Japanese bank to have its banking license in the UK. And then I went on to Credit Suisse, where I was head of technical trading at Credit Suisse. I worked directly with the top guy there. I worked with the chairman. I worked with the treasurer. I worked with the one above the treasurer. And in 1996, my love was always the floor. And I'd got to 40 and I decided I was going to go back and trade my own account, which is what I did. I went back as a local trader, which meant that you had your own money. You went into the pit. And although you've been doing it for many, many years, that trade, that first one, when it's your mortgage on the line, is like, so I understand more, I think, as time has gone on, I understand the retail trader because they're trading their own money. And no one's teaching them how to do it. They're not. And in this business, if you learn how to do it properly, you can do it for the rest of your life. You really, really can. You know, 95% of retail traders get wiped out. It's too big. It's just too big a percentage. You know, there is no need for it. I run a group of traders. 95% of them don't fail. You know, otherwise it wouldn't be with me. But I've come across, by being involved with the retail market for the last 3 to 4 years, I've come across there are some very unscrupulous little bunnies out there. Now, they may all be hooked up well with the marketing side of it, and they're slick, and they're this and they're that, and they look good, and they've got their Porsches, and they've got the this and that, and the, you know, the beautiful wife on their arm. However, what have they done? That's what you need to understand, and this is what I need to get through to you. They need to have a track record. They need to have worked in a bank, on a dealing desk. Coming from life was a great experience. That's not necessarily, but what you want is somebody who traded before retail traders were ever invented. You know, that's what you want. I've got companies that I look at, and somebody says, take a look at these, what do you think? I'm like, it's slick marketing with no content. There's nothing to check against what these people are saying. They could be it could be anybody. You know, I have a track record. It can be proved. I did work at Life from 1982 to 1986. I did work at Midland Bank. I did work at Nomura Bank. I did work at Credit Suisse. I did go back to the floor in 1996. I have worked on my own since 2000. You know, these are all checkable things. I've got people who have been so ripped off by these mentors that I decided I've got to speak out. You know, I really have. Now, if you're asked to download a free video and it says, put your credit card details in, don't. I do training, I teach. I never ask for credit card details. I give them mine. You put that money in my bank or my PayPal account. I wouldn't dream of asking people to pay a year up front, 6 months up front, any up front. No. There are companies out there that claim to have been doing it 30 years. I know one for a fact that hasn't, because I trained them. And let's say they're frugal with the truth. And I really want to try to give something back now. That's my aim. I really want to try to give something back to a business that I have loved and adored, and is still my passion to this day, for 38 years. You know, that's the bottom line. And if I can help somebody reach their potential to be a good enough trader, that they're not doing their daily work and then coming home and doing the New York close. You know, I'm up at 5, I finish at 10. I don't have to be, but I run this group, and they rely on me being focused for that amount of time. You get mentors that are not interested, they only want your money. And if they don't have a credibility, why would you do it? You know, would you, if you needed a brain operation, go to a chiropodist? No, you wouldn't. You'd go to a neurosurgeon. And that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying they're all bad out there. I'm saying that the ones I've looked at border on criminal, where they've taken a year's money up front, disappeared over to Australia, to a lot of people. And people are hurt. And when you're retail trading, one of the things you don't want to do is pay out a lot of money for being mentored or taught, and you're not. And at the end of the week, you come away going, what was that? No, didn't understand that. Don't get it at all. Now, and the price, I mean, extraordinary how expensive some of these courses are, and it's unbelievable. And I'm like, so now I want to put the record straight. I think it's time. Did I have the confidence before? Probably, because I'm a life trader, so I've probably got a lot of confidence. But what I want is for everybody who is considering taking this up as your business to know what to look for and what not to look for. Credit card details put, don't entertain it, because it's very difficult to actually stop it. I went to bat for one of my clients who downloaded a free video. What he'd actually signed up to was £4 a month for a year. No, but one email from me, and she sent one back, and then I sent one back. He's never been bothered again. She's never contacted me. This company's never contacted me again. And as I said, I've picked you out. It's took me 5 minutes to dig for you lot. Imagine if I dug further. Anyway, didn't hear no more. And luckily, my client did not lose his shirt and house, and no more was mentioned. I'm not like that. I'm just not. My blood boils when I look at these companies that are doing this to the ordinary man in the street, So hopefully I'm giving you a few little pointers, and obviously, as I say, if you want to look me up, my name is Carol Harmer. I do run Charmer Trading Academy. That is a residential course. If you want, if you don't, hotel, but you learn from somebody who's done it for 38 years. I wouldn't be here if I was doing it badly. I wouldn't be here. Now I've got to the stage of life, if you like, where I want to put more back. I want to go more into teaching. And as I've started to look into these companies that offer this, I'm horrified. Now, I'm not mentioning any names because I don't need to. Whoever watches this, if they know I've been on their case, they know who they are. So I don't need to now, I'm past that. But for you out there, I know education is a massive thing for you. I know that. Now, doing a massive thing, and this could be life-changing for you, you want somebody who's done it, been there, got the t-shirt, got the book, made the film. That's what you need. You need somebody who, if you ask them about Aussie Kiwi, they know what markets do react to different technical indicators depending on what market it is. So you don't necessarily put the indicators that you use onto every single market because they do act differently. But depending on what you want to do and what market you want to trade, I just want you to know I'm here, and you'll get 1,000% from me for not thousands of pounds that are being asked for by these companies that are just marketing machines. I'm not a marketing machine. I live in southern Spain. I don't need to show you my car, my house, my this, my that. That's irrelevant. It is irrelevant. I could go and rent a villa for a day, hire a Ferrari for a day. People don't know. All I can tell you is I'm really honest. I genuinely care, and my clients will tell you this. I genuinely care. I genuinely care, and I genuinely want you all to go on to do a job that you love and that gets you up in the morning, and you can make a good living out of it. You don't have to be in that 95% that fail. You don't. All right. Well, I'm here, and you can get me on my YouTube channel or fire me off an email from my website. It's Charmer Trading, Carol Harmer. I'm all over Google. So, let's see if we can put these not so nice companies out of business. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? Do you know what I mean? Go, you've really been bad all these years. You've got to go. Anyway, that's me done. I don't want to bore you to death. I just needed to get this out there. Happy trading.